Hey guys, Avexel here, bringing you another Master Duel video. With the release of the new pack, Galactic Evolution, we've gained some more support for the Purrely deck, pushing it to be one of the best decks going forward here on Master Duel. In today's video, we'll be breaking down the deck list that I have thrown together to use in Ranked, and we'll showcase some of the main combos you will need to know in order to do well with this deck. Before we begin, if you enjoy this type of content and want to see more, let me know by smashing the like button down below. While you're there, don't forget to subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future videos here on the channel. Without further ado, let's dive straight into the deck list. So Purrely monsters are feline-based creatures that have the ability to XYZ special summon into different versions of itself based on whichever quick play spell you use to do said special summon. The deck is very discard central, so playing other discard-based engines alongside the Purrely engine is a good idea and can be very helpful when beginning to learn this deck. Helps you with stopping from running out of discards itself. Engines like Dangers and Dark Worlds can also help you learn the deck in its entirety. And that being said, you also have the capability of drawing up to 6 cards on your opponent's standby phase using your Sleepy Memory quick play spell, and therefore running hand traps in this deck is also a very viable scenario with this deck. So let's hop it in. Shout out to Solemn Yugioh here on YouTube for inspiration in this deck list. I basically took a majority of his deck list that he has on his channel and tweaked it just a little bit because I don't have certain cards that he has. But yeah, we'll get into it. But shout out to him. His channel will be linked down below. So I'm running the hand trap version of this deck. I just think the fact that you're able to draw in your opponent's standby phase just makes it, if your opponent can't out it, you basically win the game. So we're running 2 Effect Veilers, we're running 3 Droll and Lockbirds, we're running 3 Maxies, 3 Ash Blossoms, we're running 1 Nibiru, 1 Triple Tactics Talent, we're running 2 Call by the Graves as for our hand traps. So that's 2, 5, that's 8, 12, 13, 14, 16 hand traps that you could potentially draw into on your opponent's standby phase to stop your opponent from playing the game. So that's really, really, really good. As far as the Purrely engine goes, we're running 3 Purrelys. Now this card, if this card is normal special summon, you can excavate the top 3 cards of your deck, and if you do, you can add 1 excavated Purrely spell trap to your hand. Also place the rest on the bottom of your deck in any order. Then once per turn during your main phase, you can reveal 1 Purrely quick play spell that is in your hand, special summon the XYZ monster from your extra deck that mentions this card by using the materials listed on it. So this card is one of the main cards that you use to go into one of your XYZ monsters on the field based on whatever quick play spell that you draw or have in your hand. We're playing 3 Purrelys. Now, Purrely has kind of a similar option. It has the same exact effect that Purrely does, except for it uses the graveyard instead of your hand. So if you have a card, one of the quick play spells in the graveyard, you'll utilize that to special summon your card. But it also, when it's normal or special summon, you can add 1 Purrely card from your deck to your hand. Except for a quick play spell. So this will get you into your My Friend Purrely continuous spell, it can get you into your field spell, or best yet, it can get you into your trap that will allow you to go into your Noir during your opponent's standby phase. So next we're playing 2 of the Stray Purrely Streets. You can play 1 of these, you could play 3 of these. The best thing about this deck is the fact that Konami decided not to limit any of these cards, so they're all you can play up to 3 of every single one of these cards for now. I think once this deck starts taking off, it's probably going to get limited later on. I don't think it's going to get banned, but I do know that the X Purrely Noir is limited to 1 in the OCG, so potentially could get limited as well. A couple of these other cards could also possibly get limited also. But for this deck list, I'm running the 2 of the field place spells. So your opponent cannot target purely monsters while this is on the field with card effects, the turn that they are special summoned. So once per turn, if a face-up purely XYZ monster you control leaves the field because of an opponent's card, you can special summon 1 level 1 purely monster from your deck. So you get to special summon 1 of these cards from your deck. Then also, once per turn during the end phase, you can target 1 purely XYZ monster on the field and attach 1 purely quick play spell from your deck or graveyard to that monster as material. You can just grab a Delicious, you can grab Sleepy Memory, you can grab any one of these quick play spells and attach it to one of your XYZ summons. We're playing 3 of the My Friend Purrelys. This is one of the essential cards in the deck. It's a really good way to get into any card that you want because the deck is not limited. Basically, you can pay 500 life points. You reveal 3 Purrely cards from your deck, except for your friend Purrely, and your opponent randomly picks one of them for you to add to your hand. So if you draw without Delicious, you need 3 Delicious, you choose all 3 Delicious, your opponent automatically gives you a Delicious, and then you can go about your business playing your hand. Next, Purrely Happy Memory. We get to choose 1 card on the field until the end of the next turn. The first time it would be destroyed by card effect, it's not destroyed. After choosing a card, then you can apply the following effect. You can discard 1 card, and if you do, special summon 1 level 1 Purrely monster from your deck. So you get to special summon 1 of these from your deck. Quick note to mention, Purrely's effect is once per turn, hard locked. Purrely's effect is not once per turn hard locked, so you can summon all 3 of these and you'll excavate every single time it's summoned. So quick note. Next, we got your Purrely Pretty Memory. Now, all these quick play spells basically do the exact same thing. They activate some kind of effect, and then you can discard 1 card and special summon 1 of these on the field. So going forward, that's what they do. This one, however, each player gains 1,000 life points for its main effect, and then you can apply the secondary effect there. Delicious says that you choose 1 monster in the field, and until the end of the next turn, it cannot be destroyed by battle. After choosing a card, then you can apply the following effect. Discard 1 card, special summon Purrely monster. Sleepy Memory. This is how you're going to draw on your opponent's turn because it has a secondary effect here. We'll get into those here in a second because I skipped over those, but I'll go back and talk about those in a second. The next battle or effect damage you take this turn will become 0. You can apply this effect immediately. So this card also reads, once per turn during your opponent's standby phase, you can draw 1 card. So if you have all 3 of these attached to a plump, for example, you'll be able to draw 3 cards on your standby phase. Delicious has another secondary effect. It gains 300 attack for each material attached to the monster that it's attached to. Pretty Memory, if it's attached, once per turn, you can send 1 other card you control to the graveyard, then target 1 card your opponent controls and attach it to this card as material. It's really good to out one of his traps. You're afraid of running into Labyrinth or something that's playing really trap heavy, you can just grab one of their traps, put it in your underneath your card there. And then Happy Memory states that this card can attack monsters a number of times each battle phase, up to the number of purely happy memories attached to it, +1. So you can potentially attack with the same monster 4 times. So next, your trap. You get to target 1 purely XYZ monster you control. Special summon from your extra deck 1 purely XYZ monster with a different rank by using that target as material. But it has a caveat. You return it to the extra deck during the end phase of your next turn. So if you can't OTK with this, then you'll have to draw back and go back into it again. This is treated as an XYZ summon. Transfer its materials to the summon monster. You can banish this card from your graveyard. Then you can target up to 3 Purrely monsters in your graveyard. Shuffle them into the deck. You can only activate it once per turn. Then we're going into the extra deck. So the extra deck is basically Zeus Turbo. You can play, and plus the Purrelys. So you play your Purrelys, but if all else fails, you rank up all the way up to Zeus, wipe the board out, and go from there. I have seen a Zeus with 8 materials on it, which means that the opponent was able to wipe the board 4 separate times. That's insane. Just stopping you from playing the board 4 different times, and it's incredible. So we're running Slacker Magician. Of course, this is one of the best cards to run to rank up into Zeus. Once per turn, it can't be destroyed by battle, and then you just rank up as you go. We're running 1 Sylvan Princess Sprite. This is just another way to get access to a quick play spell. Potentially, it can miss. It has missed. It's missed for me. It will miss more times than not. But when it does hit, you get to add that spell to your hand, so it's pretty good. Kikanagashi Fucho, we have this card because it's another way to get into Zeus. Then we get into the Purrely XYZ monsters. So Purrely Happiness, this is your OTK machine. You basically use its predecessor, Happy Memory, to go into it, and then you link off each time it attacks. You get to take a card, add it to your hand, and then half your opponent's attack on one face-up monster that they control. So it's really good. If your opponent just throws down a low-level monster, you throw a Delicious on this card, it gains 300 per material, and then you just start escalating the Happy Memories on top of it, so that way you can just attack over and over again, OTK your opponent. Purrely Beauty, you don't really play this one too often, but it is a really good card. Once per turn, you can target 1 effect monster your opponent controls, and you can negate its effects. It's pretty good probably against the Kashtiras and everything. I haven't personally used it yet, but it is a really good card to have. Then you go into your Purrely Plump. Now this card is the beginning of drawing up to 6 times on your opponent's turn. So you'll put this card in the field with a Delicious, and then you'll try to get as many Sleepy Memories underneath this card as you can, so that way during your opponent's standby phase you draw 3 cards. And once you draw 3 cards, you activate your Pure Leap trap card going into your Noir, and then Sleepy Memory gets to activate itself yet again because it's a separate activation, and you get to draw 3 more cards, so that's 6 cards total. Downer Magician, it's another material used to rank up into Zeus. Noir is a really good card to use going first. Once you have this card on the field and it has more than 5 materials attached to it, it's unaffected by your opponent's card effects. And then you can detach 2 materials from this card and target 1 card your opponent controls and place it on the bottom of the deck. Playing 1 Zeus because he's limited to 1 in Master Duel, but again, this is Zeus Turbo, so we just play him. Relinquished Anima, this is going to be a good card going against new players that don't really know what it does, or because we're playing level 1 monsters, it's a really good link rank up for these monsters there. Underworld Goddess, I have Underworld Goddess unlocked, so I'm running Underworld Goddess. It's just a kind of an easy way to get rid, if you're playing the mirror match, to get rid of your Purrely Noir, your opponent's Purrely Noir, my mistake. If you don't have Underworld Goddess, another card you could run is the Azalea. I believe Solemn runs this one. You can run Azalea for this one. It's just a really good card to have there. Or a lot of these decks are running the Ensemble Robin, because it's also a really good card to run with a level 1 monsters. Gains 500 attack for each material attached to it. If your opponent special summons a monster, you can detach 1 material from this card, then target 1 of those special summon monsters, return it to the hand. It's really, really good. So that's the deck list that we're going to be running. So let's go ahead and get into the combos. All right, so we're going to go into the beginning of this first combo here. We're going to attempt to draw as many cards as we can on our opponent's standby phase. Ideally, you can draw up to 6 cards if you can play your cards right and you draw the opening hand that you need to do so. However, I don't believe I have that hand in this one, but we're going to try to draw as many as we can. So we're going to activate our Sleepy Memory here. We're going to discard 1 card. In this case, we kind of need... We can discard our Delicious Memory because we need to get rid of it anyways. We're going to go ahead and summon our Pure Lily. Our Pure Lily is going to activate here, and we're going to grab our trap card. We're then going to go into our Pure Lily Plump here. We're going to go into our E-Purely Plump. Purely Plump is going to not activate its effect just yet because we don't want it to, we don't need to, but we are going to activate Pretty Memory here. Activating, we'll just grab it as material because we need to grab material anyways for this. We don't want to banish a card here. We do want to we do want to try to get into another Sleepy Memory, so we'll summon our Purely, which is not once per turn, to see if we can pull My Friend Purely is Perfect, or Sleepy Memory. That works too. That is awesome. We'll just put those into there. We're going to go ahead and grab this here. And we're going to activate the effect again. Select the effect to activate. Yes. We need to use up to thrice. Grab that card into our E-Purely Plump here. We do not want to banish a card. We are going to discard the other Pure Lily. And we're going to activate another Purely. And maybe we'll get into another one. We don't, unfortunately. That's okay. This way, we can go into our Princess Sprite here. And possibly draw into maybe our Field Spell. Would be nice. We kind of want the Field Spell right here. But we'll take what we can get. Maybe... Oh, we drew into our Field Spell. Perfect. So now we're going to activate our Field Spell here. We are then going to activate the effect of our Purely Plump, grabbing the other Sleepy as our target. That'll be 2 here. And then we're going to set this here. And we don't have any other plays currently. We don't want a special summon yet. So in our opponent's turn, so before we end our turn, we want to turn our toggle on. Then we're going to end our turn. In phase, our Field Spell is going to activate, which allows us to attach 1 purely quick play spell from the deck or graveyard to one of our cards. We're going to select the 3rd Sleepy Memory here. And during our opponent's standby phase, we get to draw 3 cards because of Sleepy Memory's effect. That's 2. We're already sitting pretty with a Max C and an Ash Blossom. That's 3. That's why we play a lot of hand traps. And a Drolock and Bird right there. On the 3rd, we want to go ahead and activate our trap card, targeting our E-Purely Plump, summoning our Noir to the field. And again, you want to put him over here because it's the least affected by that card there. We can go ahead and activate the Pure Leap in this situation. Honestly, you don't need to. You can. You don't need to do it right away. You can do it later on. But for this tutorial. We're not going to do it because we don't need to. However, we do get to reactivate Purrely Sleep Memory because we overlaid on top of the plump with our Noir. So we get to draw 3 more cards. So there's 1, there's 2, there is 3. So we didn't draw any more hand traps, but we are sitting pretty with these hand traps. And honestly, our opponent is going to have a rough time playing through all of this. All right, to start the OTK here, we have Delicious in hand, which is really good. We're going to hang on to that because we need it for our Purrely Happiness, so that way it gains attack for every material that it attaches to it. We're going to go ahead. We need a way to get our happiness or our happy memory on our hand. So in order to do that, we can do one of 2 things here. One, we can go into our Purrely, which will then go into our happy memory, or we can try to surf for it with our Purrely. Because we have Purrely in hand, I'm just going to go the route of summoning our Purrely. Purrely is going to activate its effect, grabbing my friend Purrely. My friend Purrely is then going to activate its effect, paying 500 life points, and we're going to select all 3 of our happy memories. So that way our opponent automatically gives us 1. Because Purrely is on the field, we are going to need to use said card on the field. We can select any card. Honestly, it doesn't matter here. We'll just get that, so that way it does that. We don't need to summon, but we do want to activate Purrely using the happy memory as fodder for our happiness. Okay. Then we want to, with our happiness on field, we want to activate our delicious memory. Then we want to suck up the delicious memory with our happiness. Returning said card to the hand because we don't want to deal with the trap card. And we're going to select his monster as the monster that's not going to take any, or not going to be destroyed by battle. At this point, we can go into the battle phase. We can attack over his monster. Purrely Happiness's effect is going to activate, grabbing a happy memory. And we get to half our monster's attack. We then get to attack a second time. We're going to go ahead and attack a second time here, activating the effect again, grabbing our last happy memory, and half our opponent's attack yet again. We're out of attacks, so we need to activate a happy memory here, sucking it up with the Purrely Happiness, so that way we can gain another attack. We're going to then select any card, doesn't matter, we don't need to. So we gain another attack, then we can attack yet again here. Activating the Purrely Happiness once more, we can grab any spell or anything that we want. If you can't OTK, I would recommend going into Purrely, so that way you can have a way to go into your Noir later on. We have again, we're out of attacks again. We need to activate our third happy memory, sucking up our last happy memory to gain one more attack on our opponent. We can select any card yet again, no, and we get the final attack, and that is how you OTK your opponent with Purrely Happiness. And that concludes today's video. If you enjoyed it, please let me know by leaving a like down below. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, and we will see you guys in the next one. Peace.